Hello, everybody. It is day 4 of our happiness challenge, and I'm so excited to be here with everybody. I keep getting lots of messages in my DM of how well everybody is doing, and I'm so excited. We have completed only 4 days. So imagine how good you're going to feel at the end of the 30 if you're feeling this good after 4 days, right? So today's lesson is for us to determine why we're not happy. Like there are certain belief systems. So when a lot of people talk about limiting beliefs, people think like, I don't know what that is. That doesn't affect me. But you would be surprised. Like I wrote down some key ones that I wanted us to break through today. But limiting beliefs are just things that you've heard your entire life. You've heard, if you're religious, you've heard some of these in church. Like church really does breed a lot of judgment, even though they claim they don't do a lot of judgment, but they kind of do bring in a lot of judgment. They bring in a lot of rules that is not necessarily related to the Bible. It's just based on interpretation, but that's your own thing. I'm not fighting any of that. That's what you believe, so good for you. But some things that come from our church and our religion and also our family and all kinds of things come together and they create these beliefs. And when we see these beliefs, we actually it actually prevents us from doing the things that we really, really love. And it sometimes thinks that our mind or subconscious mind thinks this is the way it's supposed to be because this is what we've been told by so many people our entire life. So we are led to believe that this is actually true. So the thing is like you've been conditioned to believe these things, but do you really believe them? Like if you dig deep down within you and you continue to practice this honesty and this trust within yourself, does it really resonate with you? So one of the limiting beliefs that we have, and like I said, I'm going to go through some of the ones that I wrote. Yeah, today's not a good day with me talking, so please forgive me. I own that today. It's just been a fun day. I've had my grandchild. So, yeah. But anyway, one of the ones that we often hear a lot is money is the root of all evil. So, the purpose of believing this is what the good intention of this is that money does not bring happiness and it can corrupt things. That's what that is supposed to mean. But what happens is we get conditioned with this particular fear. And this fear is that we negatively associate with having money that it turns you into a bad person. So then anyone you look that has money, you start pinpointing the things that make them the way they are because they have money. Not looking at the fact that maybe it has nothing to do with money at all. Maybe it's just them as a person. But we associate that together. And then when we create this fear, that's a limiting belief. So if you're backed up and you're not financially as prosperous as you are, here's one thing that could be creating a belief that's going on underlying into your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind that you're not even aware of. So this can unconsciously create financial situations and it could limit our financial success out of the fear of that evil. One of the things that I used to believe was from a very early age that if I made money, somebody was going to take it. So I programmed myself to spend it all so no one else could spend it. Well, where is the savings in that? Like, where is my rainy day fund? When I talk about that, like that was a huge one for me to have to overcome. So understand that sometimes this can block us. Now, how does this potentially limit us to believe that money is the root of all evil? Well, unconsciously avoiding and maybe sabotaging our financial success to avoid the negative qualities you believe you'll develop if you have money. So when you think about like money, dig in and say, okay, what is my fear with money? What do I think would happen? What would happen if I had all the money in the world? If What would happen? What would my fears be? What would be my biggest fear if I had all the money in the world? That people would take advantage of you, that people would steal it, that people would always be asking you for things. Like, even though we don't think that, but those things happen. And if that's a fear, then that's you blocking your financial abundance, right? The next one that we've all heard is finish your plate. There are starving people in the world. Okay. The good intention of that is don't be wasteful with food and have compassion for others. That's what that's supposed to mean. But the way we take it and the conditioned fear that is underlying is food is scarce and you should be guilty for having more opportunities than others. That's how we take that. Like, oh, well, then why am I getting food and they're not? What makes me different? What makes me deserve this and others don't? Right? So, some of the limits that come with that is we may potentially overeat, we have health problems, or we're holding ourselves back to avoid feeling guilty over having more opportunity than others. So, that one statement of finish your plate, there's starving people in the world, look how that really triggers down into you. Is that something that you truly believe? Like, yes, there's starving people in the world. There's going to always be starving people in the world. But that doesn't mean that I have to eat a lot or I have to eat everything on my plate. I understand that I shouldn't be wasteful, but we can learn that through other ways. But we first have to remove this, because what does that do? That brings lack. And if we're lacking in something, we're going to try to obtain more of it, right? So think of that. My favorite one. Money doesn't grow on trees. Well, I used to always would joke, but doesn't trees make paper and paper makes money? But okay. But we're going to go with the money doesn't grow on trees. Good intentions is be intelligent with how you spend your money. That's what that should mean. It's like, okay, money doesn't grow on trees, so be intelligent on what you spend it on. But what the conditioned fear of that is that, again, we have scarcity, that money is limited. We feel like there's not enough of it and it's hard to get because we look outside and we see trees every day and we don't see money on the limbs. So it conditions us to think like, oh, well, money's scarcity. We need to try our hardest to get it and make sure we have an abundance of it. But that defeats the purpose because it's not going to happen because we're pushing out that lack. We're pushing out that scarcity mentality. So some of the potential limits that this belief can create in you is not believing that you can have what you want, even if it involves having money, therefore not going for it. So you see how that one thing can switch and make us believe something else. Okay. Don't burn your bridges. How many times have we heard that beauty? Okay. The good intention of that is keeping good relationships with people who may one day be a resource. That's what that means. But what conditioned fear goes with that? Apprehension to do what you know is right for you if you feel it makes someone disapprove of or reject you. So think about that. Don't burn bridges. Sometimes there's people that you need to burn bridges with because you don't need that type of resource. You don't need that type of person in your life. So maybe you do need to burn that bridge. But that's not bad. But that particular thing teaches us don't do it. So then we start to worry, well, if they don't like me or they disapprove, they're not going to talk to me anymore. And that's going to hurt my future. All right. So the potential limits that this creates is not making a change or taking an opportunity when it comes out of fear of disappointing, offending, or otherwise burning a bridge. So You think about the things and the decisions that you make where you hear that going on in your head, like, don't burn your bridges. But what does that look like? So that means I disappoint myself so I avoid disappointing other people. That doesn't seem, I don't think that's what that meant. Okay. The next one, no pain, no gain. It's one we hear a lot, especially with working out. But the good intention of that is basically teaching us the reward is worth the struggle. And if we turn back and look at all the times when we had pain, look at what we gained. Like, look at the insight that we gain. Look at the positive, not the negative. Don't look at the pain. Look at the pain point, but look at what you learn from it. Okay. But we're conditioned to believe that the belief that in order to be successful, one must suffer. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't resonate. Like, that's not what we should fear. The potential limits to that is choose not to make changes or go for what you want because you feel it would be difficult or painful. So what that ends up doing is holding you back from what you truly want in life. That's definitely it. Life is hard. The good intention of that is supposed to mean pain and struggle are a normal part of being a human being. That's just life, period. But that doesn't mean that we have to fear it. But what we're conditioned to fear is that there is no hope of you feeling at ease or happy in life. What? Like, why not? And if we were supposed to be living on earth happy, but yet we're conditioned to feel like there's no hope and we aren't supposed to have a happy life, then wow, that's deep, right? So what are the limits to this is feeling discouraged and hopeless and accepting difficulties or unnecessary suffering because you believe it's normal or expected. That doesn't feel good. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do we want to hold on to that? Honor thy mother and father. Yes, I know that's one of the 10 commandments. I do. But the intention of that, the good intention, is treat your parents with respect and be grateful for them. That's what that means. But what we're conditioned and the fear that we put in is that you become overly concerned about disappointing our parents or that you will be disowned if you follow your heart. Is that truly what that commandment meant? Is that we have to be over concerned with disappointing them? That if I don't do exactly what they want to do, they're going to disown me? That's not what that commandment meant, but that's what we're conditioned to believe. So what are some of the potential limits to that? Is you're holding yourself back from what you want and know you need to do or who you are because your parents or others do not approve. Okay. Ready for the next one? No one ever said life is fair, right? I remember one of my friends used to say the fair only comes one time a year. And that's true. State fair only comes one time a year. So, but that has nothing to do with this. Okay, let's go. Good intention. Sometimes things seem unfair, but it's okay. That's what that means. But what we're conditioned to believe in the fear is that you will not get what you deserve and there's no justice in the world. That's what everybody says the moment something goes wrong. Well, life isn't supposed to be fair. Okay. So what does this do? What limits does this put inside of us? It may hold you back from feeling like it would not pay off, or you may develop feelings of hopelessness. Yeah. Next one. My favorite. Good things come to those who wait. How many times have you heard that? Good intention is it is important to be patient and it's worth the wait. That's what that means. But what are we conditioned? What fear? Is you have to wait a long time to get what you want. Well, how does this limit us? A feeling of impatience due to focusing on the length of time and not doing something you want because it would take too long. How many? I remember when I was getting my first degree and the lady said, "You're going to be 40 anyway. Why not go?" Because my mind felt, I'm going to be old by the time I finish my degree. So what? I'm going to be old anyway. So might as well have my degree with me, right? So that's that. Okay. You have to pay your dues. The good intention in that is it takes effort to get results. So often we forget the action and the effort to actually doing. Okay. But the conditioned fear that we're pushed down inside of us is that you will have to suffer in order to be worthy of anything to pay off. What? Like, why do I need to suffer? To that, you know? So what does this bring? What potential limits does this bring? It brings feeling unworthy. You may not take opportunities, or you may punish yourself for rewards and accomplishments you receive with ease. How many people have done that? How many of you, when people say, "Oh, this looks good, you did a good job," you're like, "Oh, that's nothing." Well, or you come back with something negative. How many times do people give you a compliment and you come back with something negative? Because that makes you feel unworthy of the recognition and of the accomplishment. But then there's a part of you that feels kind of glad that they noticed, but you don't want to act like you're boasting or you're this person. So you just try to diminish your accomplishment. Why do we do that? Because that's what we're taught. Okay. Speak only when spoken to. The good intention of that is to be polite and don't interrupt. But the conditioned fear that we've developed in this is that you become apprehensive to approach others and speak up. You hold back what you need to let go. You're scared. And so what kind of limits does this bring us? Avoidance of activities or circumstances requiring you to be in an authority, lead, demand what you want, stand up for what you believe, or speak in front of others. So that could be potentially holding you back of some of your being honest and truthfulness is to be able to just push it out, right? Children are meant to be seen and not heard. Yeah. How many times did you hear that running around your grandmother's house? Lots of times. What is the good intention of that? There's not any. Like, or aren't children supposed to be heard? Like, aren't we all supposed to be heard? That's like beating a screaming child and telling it to stop crying. Like, how does that make any sense? So I'm going to inflict pain to make you stop crying? Or we tell our children to be quiet, that there's nothing wrong with them, but isn't that pushing down their emotions? Children cry for a reason because they need something. They don't know any other way to communicate. If we would embrace that and we would cry when we need something, and I don't mean tears, but that's good. You need to cry tears, but I just mean if we can learn to express our feelings and our emotions, guess what? That reduces the pain. Just saying. Okay. The conditioned fear, feelings of being unworthy and low self-esteem because you feel like I'm just supposed to see you but not hear you. You're supposed to be over there in the corner looking pretty quiet, not moving. said no child ever. Is that going to work? So, what are the limits that we get? Avoidance of being in the spotlight or anything that would make you feel important or valued. That's deep. That one little sentence. So, for your homework, here's questions I want you to ask yourself. Which of these phrases that I put out today were you conditioned to believe? Can you think of others that you may have heard a lot in your life and how it truly affected you? Do you believe all these are true? Do you believe money is evil? Do you believe children should be seen and not heard? And if so, if you do believe in that, dig into why you believe that. Move outside of that's everything you've been taught. But dig down, like, why is money the root of all evil? Why do I believe that? Other than what I've been taught, when have I seen money be evil? And then dig into that and see why that impacts you and how it motivates you in life. Like, dig in there and see. Can you see any fears you develop because of these beliefs? Can you see any way in which they have limited you? Can you see how you would be happier with different beliefs? If so, what is that? How? So, the fun part of this is now that you're aware of some of these things, now you can really dig in and say, okay, what are the new beliefs that I want? What do I want to believe? What are the beliefs that I'm going to download? What are the beliefs that I'm going to have that I'm going to teach my children if I have children, or I'm going to instill in my life? That's the beauty of this 30 days to happiness, is just really digging down deep to see what is affecting you and how you can stop it. So today I am so excited to see the results of when you really start to dig down deep into this. So, sending you all lots of love and light today. And I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow, because tomorrow is a good day. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how to change our perspective by changing our words. All right. So until tomorrow, sending you lots of love. Bye.